If you're a homeowner, you probably know the struggle of maintaining your yard. My husband and I moved into our current home 2 years ago, and we decided to get the backyard cleaned up and make a nice clear area for the kids to play. As we were doing this, we noticed several of what looked like large shrubs growing along the fence line and in random spots throughout the yard. We cut them down and the yard looked great. Well, this spring, we noticed not only had these plants returned, but they had multiplied. I didn't know what was going on, so I called my mom, who's a landscape architect, and asked her to come over and let me know what I was dealing with. She left that day wishing me luck. Chinese privet is what I was dealing with. I was soon going to find out all about it and its invasiveness. Today we will discover what Chinese privet is and what makes it so invasive, as well as its negative effects on our ecosystem. First, Chinese privet is an Asian ornamental shrub that was introduced to the U.S. hundreds of years ago. An Interior Journal article from May 2023 by Steve Rourke titled, "Privet, a pretty bush you don't want to see or smell," stated it was brought to the U.S. as early as the late 1700s. It was introduced as a landscape hedge in gardens and yards. Part of the plant's appeal is it could tolerate severe pruning and be shaped easily into any way you desired, recovering quickly. Neil Odenwald and James Turner list several identifying factors in their book, Identification, Selection, and Use of Southern Plants for Landscape Design. Privet has an upright oval form with slender arching branches. These branches contain opposite elliptic oblong leaves that are 1 to 3 inches in length and semi-glossy. In the spring to summer, it produces white, slightly fragrant flowers that grow on upright stems. And in the fall to winter, it produces thousands of drupes, a black and purple fruit that make it a prolific seeder. Despite its positive landscape uses, it has been shown to be highly invasive. Chinese privet is invasive due to its ability to thrive and difficulty to control. A Penn State Extension article, Privet, by Wurzbacher, Jackson, and Templeton from March 2020 explains. Privet has many advantages that allow it to thrive. Its main advantage is its abundant fruit seeds that are spread easily by birds. Birds consume these seeds and disperse them miles away, starting new invasions. It has the ability to thrive in almost any soil type, whether it moist, dry, light, or sandy, and it can adapt to varying light conditions. While it prefers full sunlight, it is shade tolerant and can begin to invade even under a full canopy of trees. Once established, it is exceedingly difficult to control. It reproduces through root suckering, so if you try to remove it, any left behind root fragments will resprout. Cutting and mowing are ineffective, as it will only regenerate more stems. Herbicide is shown to be the most effective treatment. However, it must be applied repeatedly to cut stems, and it can still take years to kill the root system this way. Plants.usda.gov explains it prefers disturbed mineral soils, so things like tree falls, erosions, building of fences, and even attempted removal provide excellent colonization opportunities. This ability to thrive and difficulty to control make it harmful to our ecosystem. Invasive Plant and Science Management published a journal in February 2020 titled The Ecological Effects of Chinese Privet Invasion, a Synthesis. It refers to privet as the most invasive species in the Southeast. It's reviewed several studies of negative correlations to our ecosystem. Privet forms dense thickets that crowd out native plants. In these thickets, you see a decreased survival of herbaceous and woody plant species as they're forced to compete for the sunlight. You also see a decline in several plant species of conservation concern, such as the pitcher plant. Invasions also have a negative effect on wildlife and insects. Where privet is dominant, pollinators like bees and butterflies, disappear. Studies have shown, however, that once privet was removed, these pollinators return. And due to lack of vegetational diversity, wildlife leaves in search of food elsewhere. So as we can see, Chinese privet was brought here as an Asian ornamental shrub that ended up being highly invasive and causing a negative impact on our ecosystem. Hopefully, you won't have to encounter any in your backyard, as it has been a complete nightmare and a constant battle for me. However, if you do, now you'll know what you're dealing with.